and gentlemen, friend from press, good afternoon. Foreign Minister Wang Yi of China will make some remarks about the meeting just closed. And after that, he will take a couple of questions. So first of all, Minister Wang Yi.
I will speak Chinese. 各位记者朋友，大家好。作为本月的安理会轮值主席，欢迎各位采访报道刚刚召开的巴以问题的高级别会议。
Friends from the media, good afternoon. As the rotating president of the Security Council this month, I welcome all of you coming here today to cover the just concluded Security Council high-level meeting on the Palestinian question.
每当全球出现战火，人民遭受苦难，世界就会把目光集中在这里。本轮巴以冲突造成大量平民伤亡，导致严重人道灾难。国际社会期待安理会 承担应有责任，采取有力行动。作为本月的轮值主席国，中方一直将巴以冲突作为最紧迫的课题。我们在主持通过了有关巴以冲突第一份安理会决议，也就是2712号决议之后，今天又在这里召开高级别的会议，就是为了回应国际社会的强烈的呼声。将近20个国家的外长 和高级别代表出席了会议，我对他们表示感谢。我们在会上就当前的巴以局势和下步的工作进行了深入的讨论，各方朝着重建和平的方向进一步凝聚了共识，汇聚了合力。
Whenever there is fighting or suffering on our planet, the world will look here at the UN. The recent Palestinian-Israeli conflict has caused enormous civilian casualties and a serious humanitarian disaster. The international community expects the Council to live up to its due responsibilities and take strong actions. Holding the November presidency of the Security Council, China has always taken the Palestinian-Israeli conflict as the most pressing issue. After the Resolution 2712 was adopted, which is the first resolution adopted by the Council since the outbreak of the conflict under China's presidency. We have initiated today's high-level meeting in response to the strong call of the international community. Foreign ministers and high-level representatives from about 20 countries participated in this meeting, and I would like to express my appreciation to all of them. At the meeting, the participants had in-depth discussions on the current Palestinian-Israeli situation and the next steps. The parties further built consensus and pooled strengths for the restoration of peace.
我们欢迎上周达成的临时人道主义停火协议，但和平不能受限制，停火不能有期限。机会之窗一旦打开，就不应关闭；战火一旦停息，就不能够再重燃。我们不能允许人道灾难继续发生，我们不能接受平民生灵再次遭受涂炭。我们敦促释放所有被扣押人员，呼吁解除对加沙的全面封锁，确保人道救援通道的顺畅，保障加沙平民的基本生存需求。我们还应该防止冲突向整个中东地区外溢。我们敦促对当事方有影响的国家发挥积极的作用。
We welcome the humanitarian pause reached last week, but peace cannot be circumscribed, and there shouldn't be a time limit to a ceasefire. The window of opportunity once opened should not be closed again. The fighting once stopped should not flare up again. We cannot allow the humanitarian disaster to continue or tolerate even more sufferings or losses among the civilians. We urge the release of all those held captive and call for the removal of the blockade of Gaza to ensure unhindered international corridors and guarantee the basic needs of civilians in Gaza. We should also prevent the conflict from spilling over into the entire Middle East region and urge countries with influence on parties to the conflict to play a positive role.
巴以冲突再次证明，两国方案 是解决巴勒斯坦问题的唯一可行途径。70多年过去了，一代代巴勒斯坦人失去家园，颠沛流离，巴勒斯坦独立建国的夙愿仍然遥不可及，这是人类良知的伤口。国际社会要全面落实联合国大会、安理会的相关决议，充分尊重巴勒斯坦人民的意愿，回归两国方案的正确轨道，尽快建立独立的巴勒斯坦国。只有这样，才能实现巴勒斯坦和以色列的和平共存，实现阿拉伯和犹太两大民族的和谐相处，实现中东地区的持久和平。
The Palestinian-Israeli conflict proves once again that the two-state solution is the only viable way to address the Palestinian question. More than 70 years have gone by, and generations of Palestinians have lost their homes and become displaced. Yet the dream of establishing an independent state of Palestine remains elusive, and this is an open wound on human conscience. The international community needs to fully implement the relevant resolutions of the UN General Assembly and the Security Council, fully respect the will of the Palestinian people, return to the right track of the two-state solution, and enable the building of an independent state of Palestine as quickly as possible. That is the only way for Palestine and Israel to coexist in peace, for Arabs and Jews to live in harmony, and for the Middle East region to enjoy durable peace.
中方在巴勒斯坦问题上始终站在和平一边，站在公道一边，站在良知一边。习近平主席多次就当前的巴以局势阐明中方的原则立场。我们据此提交了中国关于解决巴以冲突的立场文件。我们提出全面停火止战，切实保护平民，确保人道救援，加大外交斡旋，落实两国方案等5个方面的建议。刚才我在会上宣布，为了缓解加沙地带的人道的局势，中方将再向加沙地带提供新一批的紧急人道主义物资援助。
When it comes to the question of Palestine, China always stands on the side of peace, on the side of justice, and on the side of conscience. President Xi Jinping has outlined China's principled position on the current Palestinian-Israeli situation on multiple occasions. With that as the basis, we have submitted China's position paper on resolving the Palestinian-Israeli conflict and offered 5 proposals, including implementing a comprehensive ceasefire, effectively protecting the civilians, ensuring humanitarian assistance, enhancing diplomatic mediation, and implementing the two-state solution. Just now, I announced at the meeting that to ease the humanitarian situation in the Gaza Strip, China will send another batch of emergency humanitarian assistance to the Gaza Strip.
过去一段时间，国际社会积极行动，阿拉伯和伊斯兰国家奔走斡旋，金砖国家发出有力的呼声。中方将继续同有关各方加强协调，凝聚共识，为地区重回稳定、人民重获安宁做出不懈的努力。谢谢各位。
Over the past few weeks, the international community has taken active actions. The Arab and Islamic countries have been vigorously exercising their good offices, and the BRICS countries have also sent a strong message. China will continue to step up communication and coordination and build consensus with the relevant parties and work tirelessly to bring stability back to the region and tranquility back to the people. Thank you.
Now the floor is open for questions. First for China Central Television.
Okay, I'll ask this question in Chinese. We're in good hands in translation. So, 部长您好，我是中央电视台记者徐德志。我们知道，过去多年以来，巴以冲突在反复的上演，导致了大量的人员伤亡以及人道灾难。中国对于如何阻止下一次的这个巴以冲突的爆发，以及推动从根本上来解决巴勒斯坦问题，有什么建议呢？谢谢。
Yes, rounds of Palestinian Israeli conflicts have caused enormous casualties and humanitarian disasters. What are China's proposals for preventing another Palestinian Israeli conflict from breaking out and for fundamentally resolving the Palestinian question?
两国方案就是解决巴勒斯坦问题的根本的出路，也是唯一的出路。解决巴勒斯坦的问题，缺的不是宏大的方案和口号，而是主持公道的勇气和行动。两国方案是国际正义的底线，不能后退。独立建国是巴勒斯坦人民不可剥夺的民族权利，不容交易。面对巴勒斯坦人民长期遭受的历史不公，任何人都没有拖延的借口，没有不作为的理由。在关系到巴勒斯坦人民前途命运的问题上，任何国家都没有否决权。
The two-state solution is the only way to fundamentally resolve the Palestinian question. What is lacking for the settlement of the Palestinian question is not grand plans or slogans, but the courage and the actions needed to stand up for justice. The two-state solution is the bottom line for international justice. There is no stepping back from that. The establishment of an independent state is the undeniable national right of the Palestinian people, which cannot be traded away. In the face of the historical injustice long suffered by the Palestinian people, no one has an excuse to drag their feet, and there is no justification for inaction. When it comes to the issues bearing on the future of the Palestinian people, no country has a veto right.
巴勒斯坦问题是中东问题的核心，必须放在国际议程的优先位置，绝不能被边缘化。两国方案完全落地，中东地区才能实现真正的和平，以色列也才能获得持久的安全。中方呼吁尽快召开更大规模、更具权威、更有实效的国际和平会议，进一步凝聚促和的共识，并且制定具体的路线图和时间表，推动巴勒斯坦问题得到全面、公正和持久的解决。谢谢。
The Palestinian question is the core of the Middle East issue, and it must be prioritized, not marginalized, on the international agenda. Only when the two-state solution is fully implemented can the Middle East enjoy genuine peace and Israel enjoy lasting security. China calls for the convening of a more broad-based, authoritative, and more effective international peace conference to further build consensus for peace and work out a concrete timetable and roadmap to push for a comprehensive, just, and lasting solution to the Palestinian question. Thank you.
Next question. Reuters.
Thank you, Minister. Michelle Nichols from Reuters. Could you elaborate for us a little bit on exactly what the humanitarian aid is that China will be delivering, and what's the sort of total value, I guess, of the aid that you've given so far to Gaza? And then you mentioned also in the Council the possibility of spillover of this conflict. When your president met with the US president recently in San Francisco, President Biden asked your president if he could speak with Iran to convince them to stop any provocative actions that might add fuel to the fire, so to speak. What conversations has China had with Iran since then on that note?
您好，我是来自于路透社的记者。您刚刚谈到了中方已经向加沙地带提供了人道主义援助，请问具体包括了哪一些援助，以及目前为加沙地带提供人道主义援助的总价值是多少？您刚刚在安理会的会议上谈到了这场冲突可能会造成一些外溢的影响。不久前在旧金山举行中美元首会晤的时候，拜登总统也向习主席提出，希望中方能够说服伊朗停止采取挑衅性的行为，导致火上浇油。请问中方与伊朗进行了怎样的对话？
中方的援助物资已经到达了口岸，加法口岸吧，但是现在由于运输的不畅， 过境的不畅，所以这批物资还积压在那么口岸上。我们希望能够尽快的打通这种紧急人道物资的运输的渠道，要使加沙将近200万民众能够活下去，这是人的最基本的需求。没有水，没有电，没有医药，这种现象在21世纪的今天不能再继续下去了。我们今天又宣布了新一批的人道主义的物资援助，我们将会以最快的速度运到加法口岸，希望能够达到加沙老百姓的手中。
Well, China's assistance has arrived at the Rafah crossing, but because of hindered and not very smooth access, now the assistance and aid remain at the Rafah crossing without being able to get into Gaza. So we are calling for unhindered humanitarian access into the Gaza Strip so that the nearly 2 million people in Gaza will be able to survive and live their lives. And that is the most basic needs of civilians in Gaza. The deprivation of water, electricity, and medicine should not continue in today's world in the 21st century. Today, we have announced that China will send a new batch of assistance to the Gaza Strip, and that will be delivered to the Gaza Strip as quickly as possible. We hope there could be unhindered humanitarian access so that the assistance can get into the hands of the people in Gaza as quickly as possible.
今天高级别会议上最强烈的呼声、最一致的愿望，就是要打通人道救援的通道，要加快物资的运入，要开辟新的过境点，要满足将近200万加沙民众的最基本的需求。
Well, at today's high-level meeting, the strongest call and the most unanimous view is for there to be unhindered humanitarian access into Gaza, for assistance to be delivered more faster and more quickly into Gaza, and for there to be new openings of crossings into Gaza so that the humanitarian assistance will be able to deliver into the region and reach the nearly 2 million civilian population in Gaza to meet their most basic needs.
习近平主席不仅同拜登总统，他同很多国家的领导人都讨论过如何来解决巴以的冲突，那么和巴勒斯坦问题这一中东问题的核心。最近我们还召开了金砖的巴勒斯坦问题的特别的峰会，伊朗总统作为金砖的新成员也参加了这场峰会，各方达成的一致意见就是要全面停火止战，就是要确保人道救援，就是要重回两国方案。中方会继续沿着这个方向来发挥我们建设性的作用。谢谢。
Well, President Xi has had related discussions about how to address the Palestinian-Israeli conflict and how to resolve the Palestinian question, which is at the heart of the Middle East issue with not just President Biden, but with many other state leaders. Recently, the BRICS has held an extraordinary summit on the Middle East situation with a particular emphasis on Gaza. And President Raisi of Iran, as the new BRICS member, also participated in that extraordinary summit. The consensus reached at that summit is to call for a comprehensive ceasefire, ensure unhindered humanitarian access, and a return to the two-state solution. And it is along that direction China will continue to play its constructive role.
谢谢。
Thank you.
算了，Last question 随便。
Okay, UNCA, please.
Thank you so much, Mr. Foreign Minister, for doing this. My name is Susan Tehrani from WION. I was wondering, why is it so hard, in your opinion, for the Security Council as a permanent member to condemn Hamas? And since you're here, we're very concerned about the pneumonia cases in China. Are you concerned about opening up the country to foreigners without visa regarding this? And thank you.
您好，非常感谢王外长今天接受我们的采访。我想请问中方作为联合国安理会的常任理事国，您认为为什么安理会在谴责哈马斯方面，在谴责哈马斯的恐怖主义袭击方面如此难以做出这样一个谴责？而考虑到中国最近的这个肺炎案例的上升，我想问的是，中方是否担心开放国界以及与许多的国家实现互免签证的这种政策会给中方带来影响？
如何看待哈马斯？这首先应该由巴勒斯坦人民来做出判断。
Well, it is first and foremost up to the people in Palestine to decide how to view Hamas.
中国一贯反对一切恐怖主义，同时我们主张反对恐怖主义不能够搞双重标准，也不能够针对特定的民族和宗教。
China always stands firmly against all forms of terrorism. In the meantime, we emphasize that there should be no double standards when it comes to opposing terrorism, and such opposition of terrorism should not be targeted against any particular ethnic group or religion.
中国有非常健全的医疗体系，那么，最近发生的一些个别地方发生一些儿童的感冒的事件，这其实在任何国家都会发生，而在中国处在有效的管控之下。
Well, China has a fully fledged medical system. Recently, we have seen some clusters of flu cases among children in certain parts of China. In fact, that is a very common phenomenon in many countries, and in China, that has been put under effective control.
中国同国际社会的人员往来不受任何的影响。我们欢迎更多的外国的朋友们到中国去看一看，包括你在内。谢谢。
China's interactions with the international community will not be affected by any factors, and we welcome more visits from friends from across the world, including you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Very quick one. Very quick one. Will China push to condemn Hamas for the 7 October attack on the draft resolution?